emotion, especially with the 2 weeks that preceded it, your emotions after the game?
You know, I'm just really excited about the win for the seniors and the football team. We were talking in the team meeting last night that you know, as a player, I've experienced stuff like this. As a coach, I've knocked off #1 ranked teams before. It gets to be old hat. It's big stuff, but it gets to be old hat. When those young men get an opportunity to do something like that in their lives when they're 18 or 22 years old, when it's going to stay with them until they're 50, 60, and 70 and tell their grandkids about it, I mean, that's the stuff that gets me going. I'm just really, really excited for those seniors and the young men, administration, and community that supports this football team.
It's interesting you end with the idea of the people that support this team. Is there any indication after the rough start at Western Kentucky, the injuries and all that?
You know, I want to talk about this win. I mean, I've talked about that, and I haven't hid from that, but I don't think it's right to even bring up that week today. If you want to talk about those guys, come back on Tuesday and we'll talk about that loss some more. I want to talk about this win. I want to talk about the opportunity that it gives us and where we can go from here.
What kind of performance did it take to pull this off?
It took a total family, entire village. It took a community. It took people who were on the wagon, on the train that had left. A lot of people had given up on us, told us what we could and could not do, put us into a bottle and tried to define us, and we would not let them define us. We know what we're made of, we know what we're capable of, and together and united we can do anything.
Coach, can you just talk a little bit about how you thought Nat played today? I know he set school records in attempts and completions for today.
I thought James, based off of all the side stories, did a really nice job. You're talking about a young man that grew up in the state of Indiana, has probably been to every one of their camps as a 7th grader, 8th grader, 9th grader, 10th grader, and then he becomes a senior and he's not recruited by them because they say he's not good enough. And then he comes to Bowling Green and he's the backup quarterback, and all of a sudden he's the starter, and now he's facing his hometown team. Once again, a community, a state, a team that tried to define him, tried to put a limit on him, tried to tell him what he could and could not do, and he wouldn't stand for it. He decided to live his dream and not their dream, and I'm really excited for him for that fact.
Coach, defense gave up some big plays because they made some when they had to. Talk a little bit about the defense.
What I really felt with this game and our defense, and we told them, I said, you know, this was going to be an old-fashioned fight. I don't know how many old people are in here, but I remember the old ones with Joe Frazier and Muhammad Ali, and not even Foreman, before those guys, Ken Norton, where they were just throwing bombs, and it was going to be 15 rounds. The guys are staggering, but they're going to stay on their feet. And that's the way we played this game. We said we were going to play it to 4 quarters. We wanted it to be close at halftime. We wanted them to feel us in the 4th quarter. We wanted the game close enough where they could feel us, okay, to see if they squeeze up a little bit, because we were going to stay relaxed and we were going to play. And I'm excited that our guys stayed relaxed enough that they could play the type of game to give them the outcome that they had.
The last drive, that quarterback, I mean, he'd had a very nice day. He ended up with school records, attempts and completions. But now you're down to the clock's under a minute, all kinds of pressure. Can you just talk about how he handled that, the length of the field?
He did what he's always done in practice. We practice that a lot. And the cool thing about our offense is that when we go 2 minute, that's not something new for us. That's what we do. We're always in that zone. So it was just a matter of clock management and doing the right things with the clock. We got to remember that an opportunity for a field goal could have arisen. It was dictating the type of calls we could make and the things that we wanted to do. And we were just trying to anticipate some defensive calls to see if we could catch it.
Wednesday in the press conference, you talked a lot about their playmakers, especially Coleman. And I don't want to say you seemed unsure of this game, but you know, was this outcome ever, I guess, the first thought in your mind, a game like this?
Did I think we could win the game?
Well, I'm not saying that you did think that you could win the game, but I guess realistically, you know, you seem very conservative in the press conference about, you know, saying we're going to give them our best shot and stuff like that.
I think the media does such a fine job nowadays, and with social media and all the things and tweets and twats and all that other kind of stuff that gets all around, that I think that a lot of football players get an opportunity to read that stuff. I think you need to be always aware that sometimes you can get a message, a good message, or send a bad message to people just by what you put in print.
Coach, can you talk about the first half? The offense jumped on the field consistently, but you ended up getting field goal after field goal after field goal. Can you just talk about how important Tyler Tate and the whole special teams unit was?
Oh, Tate was awesome. I mean, it's the one thing about getting in the red zone and not scoring touchdowns. It can be very frustrating, especially for me and the rest of the offensive guys. But when you have somebody like TT that's going to come in and just nail three-pointers after three-pointers after three-pointers, it's special, and it's a great weapon. The thing about this is if he misses 2 or 3 of those, it's a different game. I mean, he's got to go perfect, and he does. And that wasn't even the greatest thing that he did the entire game. The greatest thing he did in the entire game was tackling that guy on the block kick and holding on and not letting go, so that the rest of the family could get there. That was one of the biggest plays in the game. That's what I'm most proud about.
Talk about the environment today, Coach. The players, obviously, the crowd was into it. They stayed for the whole game. Do you feel the players are getting some juice from the crowd today?
I think the players got some juice from the crowd, yes, sir. I think that the players and the team had some juice stolen from them early in the season, and we got a little bit of that back. And the cool thing is that we know who our friends are. We know who believes in us, because you know, some people stopped the train and wanted to get off. Now the train's moving again, and you can't get back on. That's so cool. Okay, we're rolling. We're in the train. You're standing there. You're outside the train. Now we need to go have a season. Okay, and see what we can take this.
Coach, what Central Michigan and Northern Illinois were able to do last week against Big Ten give you any confidence heading into this game with players?
I won't tell you exactly what we said, but at halftime, Ball State and Iowa came up, and I talked about the kids, because they had all seen it because of the Big Ten Network. It comes on all the time, and they'd all saw that game, and I talked about that game, about what happened to Ball State in the third quarter and what happened to Ball State in the fourth quarter. And it was a great game by Ball State. I'm not talking bad about Ball State. But what I was trying to let them know at halftime is that you only get so many opportunities like this in life. And you have to fight, you have to claw, you have to hold on, you got to lose fingernails in jerseys. You've got to find a way to make this happen. And I can't think of all the guys, but I remember, I can't give you the names. Somebody has a broken finger, went in and got a cast put on their broken finger and came back in. Somebody else got hurt, was down a quarter and came back. It was like a triage. Guys were going out left and right, and they could have stayed out the entire game, but they weren't. They were getting back in there, and one of the guys was hurt, just got back in for the very last play, for the knockdown play, just because he knew that he could do it better in his injury situation than the guy that had never done it before. And when everybody's rallying like that, nobody cares who gets the credit. You got an opportunity to do something special. You got an opportunity to be good.
You know who that was?
I do not.
So people jumped off the train, they can't get back on?
No, sir. Doors are shut, train's moving, unless you're Superman.
Coach, would you talk a little bit about the fumble that your defense caused? You just had gotten stopped, I believe, on a 4th down. Indiana had driven down the field and looked like they were about to do something, and your defense made a play for you.
J-Dub, I actually didn't see it because I was making I was making offensive adjustments from the series that came off when it happened. So I really didn't get a chance to see it, which is, I'll get a chance to see it here the next couple of hours. But it was big. It was huge. It really was.
Did you sense a change in emotion after that?
No, it's not that easy. I really felt that the guys were locked in the entire game. I do remember being booed by the fans right before halftime, okay? And I can't remember where the ball was. There was a minute and something left. But this was a 15-round fight. We knew it was going to be a 15-round fight. It's calculated, okay? If we play those guys 10 times, I don't know if we could beat those guys 10 out of 10. How many coaches would say that? But we don't have to beat them 10 out of 10. We only got to beat them once, okay? And today we were the best team. So we're, that halftime, that turnover, all that stuff, you got to lock it in and you have to play the chess game. And we were playing the game. And we wanted to make sure, again, that they felt the stress, that they felt the need, that they tightened. I'm not going to say they did, but that they felt that they were in a game all the way to the fourth quarter. We didn't want it to get away from us because we felt in the end, at home, we'd find a way to win it.
Coach, what was the difference in that second half offensively for you guys? It just seemed like drive after drive after drive, you were consistently moving the ball, putting touchdowns on the board.
Just you get a feel, you get adjustments, you see what they're going to do. They had 2 weeks to prepare for us, guys. I mean, and they didn't show anything at Indiana State. I mean, we're sitting there going, okay, what are they going to do to this? What are they going to do to that? It takes time for you to have enough plays. I believe we had 51 plays in the first half. It takes time to have enough plays to see I forgot the word I was going to use. The patterns, to see the patterns of how they're going to play you so you can make sure that you get the high quality calls that gives you an opportunity for success.
Can you talk of the thinking behind the onside kick after the touchdown in the third quarter?
Yeah, we wanted to get the ball back again so we could score. That was the thinking. Right? Buster Douglas, can you tell me the thinking why he threw that uppercut on Mike Tyson? No one throws an uppercut at Mike Tyson. They said you couldn't knock him out with an uppercut. Buster Douglas did. Thinking is he just threw a bomb to see what was going to happen. He did an onside kick to see what was going to happen. The guy actually caught the ball 12 yards or 2 yards past the line, and our guys got so excited they didn't blow him up. If they'd have blown him up, we'd have had the ball. We had an opportunity to score. I don't know. It would have been a 14-point swing. It would have been really rocking in here if that would have happened, right? What I told the kids, I said Friday night, I said, how do you guys want to play this game? You know, we can lose some cats. You know, we get so banged up, maybe we won't be able to do the things that we want to do to Matt Comp. How do you want to play this game? Because you only get an opportunity like this so many times. They said, no breaks. They wanted pedal to the metal. I said, okay. And you guys know that when you tell me that, you know what that means to me, right? And they said, yes, sir. Let's go. And I said, G.O., let's go.
Since you're into boxing analogies today, was the offense today a matter of a bunch of little cuts, no deep ones, and I mean, whatever the numbers were, 7 yards per completion or whatever, 6.5 or whatever. I mean, is that what Indiana was giving?
I thought they were giving us that. I thought that they were really stout inside, and they were giving us some stuff on the edges. And we had to be patient, and we had to be accurate with the football. What I haven't figured out is what James threw for. Anybody know his percentage?
He was 46.
46 or 73.
So it was 35. So he's over 50. I don't know if it's 60. I can't do it. I'm too tired right now. Somebody's got to help me. But if he could throw for somewhere around that 65% or higher clip, that would give us an opportunity to move the chains a little bit, keep our defense off the football field, and shorten the game. If we score points, that's great. But the main thing is we wanted to just keep that jab in their face, boxing analogy, just keep it in their face so they can't see all the stuff that's coming. And we took some shots, and they did a nice job covering them as well.
62%.
Thank you very much. Google alert, you Google.
Anything else for Coach Babers?
Coach, I know you watched last year's tape of the game in Bloomington. What was the difference this year? I mean, there's no two teams that home field advantage, or
See, I'm not going to give you a truthful answer now because I think I know. I will say this, to beat a team like that, it's got to be a complete win. It's got to be offense and defense, and it's got to be kicking game. And one side can't be big brother, and the other side has got to be little brother. It's got to be big brother fighting with big brother, and not caring what the stats look like, who rushes for what, okay, who's statistically ranked or who's not statistically ranked. It's about going to win a football game and not mattering what happens as long as you got one more point than the other guy. That answer your question?
Anything else? All right, thank you, Coach.